All right, this reading is for Nathan, and this is an Akashic Tarot reading. We're going to try to include your questions. If they don't come through in this reading, I'll pull cards separately, specifically for your questions. So I'll be using my Akashic Tarot deck. And then I also have a couple other decks that I'll be including into the reading. And thank you so much for being patient with me earlier. I actually was thinking about it. I was like, oh, this is actually going to work out better. Because when I do these Akashic readings, if I can really focus without a lot of distraction, I tend to get the messages a little bit more clearly. All right. So. Interesting. Okay. So, usually when I get reversals, I like to pull a clarifier card. Okay. All right. So, $999. You've been seeing a lot of nines lately. Okay. So, kind of the way I have this laid out is this is you. This is kind of like your life path as well. This is things that are kind of under your control, choices, as well as like karmic connections. This can also, like for instance, here we have Archangel Raphael with Fated Meeting. So this can mean a couple different things. This is like one of the first guides that you may have met on your spiritual journey. This could also mean that there was a relationship, a physical relationship with another person that essentially cracked your heart open, and there could have been something that shifted within the community because of that. And this may have changed things from the inside out because you've got community in reverse. So there was changes within the community, possibly even moving from one place to another because of some kind of a relationship. And this could have been with someone who was kind of had this nurturing aspect about them, but maybe had some trauma around that, so needed to do some shadow work around nurturing. So there was character development happening through that relationship. So sometimes that can look like karmic partners, especially when you have to come together essentially for each other's character development. It can feel a bit frustrating. It can feel almost like there's it's being used against you. But because we have the King of Keys here in reverse, with the Queen of Keys here in reverse, and the Akashic field kind of holding this together with the Fated Meeting, and then we have Archangel Raphael under here. So this is something that was really important. This was a karmic life lesson. This was something meant to open the heart, crack the heart open so that you could shift out of maybe traditional or societal viewpoints, community standards, societal standards. So this means breaking out of the chains, the constructs of the house that is built around us, saying this is what you're supposed to live like, this is what life is supposed to look like. So when I get this card in reverse, this is like breaking out of that. This is like creating a whole new life, something completely out of what you were told you were supposed to experience. So this Akashic Library card coming up here is showing that there's this connection to the spirituality that's being developed through an internal connection that could even be through some form of channeling or automatic writing. If you see here with the Akashic Library, he's writing in a book, but he's got his eyes closed and he's looking for it. So there's automatic writing here. This could be something that you can start developing or working on. And everybody who does automatic writing when they first start, all it looks like is scribbles that doesn't make any sense. My throat chakra is acting up massively all of a sudden, so there's something going on with that. I feel like you may have this ability connected to automatic writing that you may not be fully aware of yet, or you may be partially aware of it and been doubting yourself. But this is something that's important connected to work, but you have learning to do connected to that as well. 7 is don't give up on yourself. There's seeds that have already been planted connected to essentially activating or working with this ability, but you have to be willing to put in the work to do the learning or work with a mentor. There is work to be done in order to be able to fully step into your power, okay, as a king of forces. And you are being guided by the universe moving forward. Your course is already being set. You see the rainbow up there. So one of the things about stepping into one's power is changes have to happen. Things have to break down and new things have to be learned. New ways of thinking, new ways of seeing things, new ways of experiencing life. So this often means you have to either take a course or go back to school or find a mentor that can help guide you, or even internal mentors. Whatever that looks like for you, there's something new that's needing to be worked on, and this I feel like is having something to do with tapping into your own ability to connect with the spirit world, possibly through automatic writing, maybe through scrying, because he also has the candle lit here. But as you can see, it's funny because the candle actually looks just like this one in the image that I have lit. Can you see that right there? I feel like that's kind of a sign too. It's like the same height. So maybe get yourself some white candles and use that when you do your practice. So the reason why I always have to have a candle when I do readings, when I do hypnosis sessions, when I do anything, the candle acts almost like a portal gateway to the spirit world. It also acts like a filter. It cleanses and purifies any energies that aren't of a high vibration and aren't of a good intention. So having that candle there works as like almost like a device, basically, to transmit, but also transmute energies. So connecting, transmitting information from the spiritual world into your field so that you can bring it through, and then also transmuting any energies that are not of the right intention or of the highest good, basically, discontinuing those energies, purifying them. So my throat chakra keeps acting up. You may be having some throat chakra stuff that you're going through, and throat chakra is very much connected to expression, identity, and shedding old layers of self that we developed for the sake of other people, okay? And so there could have been even a relationship catalyst that helped shed that old identity layer, ego death. For me, I got my heart completely shattered, broken, ripped into 1,000 pieces, and that forced me into the biggest ego death I've ever experienced, which also opened my eyes to who I truly am. There was a lot of parts of me that I wasn't willing to look at because I was scared of what other people would think. But then when I got to a place, because I was just so broken that I didn't really care anymore what people thought, I was like, well, I might as well figure out what's actually happening. And so I had to go on this crazy journey of, mental health. And you even had mentioned something about apologizing because of your chaos. And I had also noticed, this needing to have almost like that support system through Jan to get your appointment scheduled. I know exactly how that feels. Like, I'm an autistic person. That's something that I would do in order to feel more comfortable getting to where I need to go. And I don't think that there's anything wrong with that. And that may be something that had caused problems for you in the past or in past relationships. And so there may have been something about that experience or those experiences that was meant to show you, like, hey, this is a part of yourself that you can't control, if you can start accepting this part of yourself instead of beating yourself up about it, shaming yourself, or feeling guilty about it, you're going to meet somebody who is going to accept that part of you in every way. And they're not going to think you're chaotic or you're too much work, because they're going to understand you. They're going to see you and not expect you to try to be something that you're not. And that's that throat chakra, like really opening up. And heart too, you know, throat and heart, like I'm feeling it a lot. So we're also looking at the sands of time with the 6 of scrolls. That's connected to gifts from the universe. Gifts from the universe that are basically through learning, through development of your consciousness, through that dawn, that new dawn, that rising of the phoenix as well. Death and rebirth, that morning after a dark night. So 6s come after 5s. You have here the 5 of forces. This is showing a rebirth, a new birth after, you know, a winter experience. 5 is change. So because you have had to make certain choices within your life that have shifted things around your physical reality, whether this is changes within your job, your home, your community situation, the people that you talk to or hang out with, that was all meant to put you in alignment with better timelines. Old timelines that were still circulating this fragmented energy of, you know, having to wear this suit or this face for the sake of other people. Those timelines are dead now, and it's time to start letting those go and start stepping into your power. That's what the King of Forces is all about. It's like accepting yourself for all parts of you, your galactic, cosmic self, your elemental self, your animalistic self, as well as your human self, okay? And then your spiritual self, like everything in this image is spirit. And this is helping set your course, like, so you can really move forward. 3s is also fertile energy, so this is fertile energy, and you know, the scrolls is learning, development of material things, your physical abundance, your stability within your physical reality. Because even though, yeah, the reality is just an illusion, whatever, the matrix, blah, 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 you're still existing in, you know, this reality, and there's still importance of realizing that physicality and setting your course to have, you know, the best you can get out of that physicality. Like, you can't keep your head up in the clouds all the time. You have to bring it back down to earth, and you have to be aware of, like, is my reality exactly how I want it to be? Because I know I can shift it. I have the power, the King of Forces. I have the power all around me. I just have to remember how powerful I am. Okay, so that's what this reflection is also about. It's about remembering who you are. And there's a lot of, you know, kind of dark night of the soul energy here. You have a lot of the unconscious coming up from the surface. That's what happens when you start tapping into the spirit world and getting information from your past lives, your parallel lives, is there's a lot of reflection, because you're starting to put puzzle pieces together. You're starting to see how those past lives are actually playing a physical role in your present now, your present life, as well as those past lives are showing your future potentials. Like, one of the things I didn't realize about seeing my past lives and seeing these things happen in my past lives until they repeated themselves in my present life was those things that I was seeing happen in my past lives was like my past self saying, this is going to happen again in the future life, in your future life, if you don't make changes. And I didn't realize that until it repeated itself. And I was like, holy crap, I was literally dreaming about this a year ago, having, you know, awareness that this was a past life, this was, you know, all this crap. And then it happened in real life over the next year, like in perfect, like it was so frustrating to me, because it was like I already knew all this was going to happen, and I kept thinking, oh, that was in the past life, that was in the past life. But the thing that we forget is the past is also our future if we don't change it in the now. When we are shown things from the past, it's because we're being shown, like, this is something that could happen again in the future if you don't make some changes. This is why you're seeing it now. It's not like just accepting what happened in the past. It's like taking what happened in the past and learning from it so it doesn't happen again in the future. Okay, so I'm going to switch decks now. Woo! Gains. So, yeah, there's a lot of mastery, and you have 6 here. So the Six of Wands with the Nine of Discs. And then that's also interesting. I always get these confused. I'm pretty sure that's Virgo, yeah. So Virgo and Venus. And then this is Jupiter and Leo. So Jupiter, Leo energy, Virgo, Venus energy. So, I mean, this connection, this relationship could have been, you know, with somebody who was either a Virgo or a Leo or had those prominent in their chart, especially if they had like Leo in their Jupiter and Virgo in their Venus. That would be interesting. These could also be markings you have in your own chart that could be giving you information connected to why this experience had to happen. So whether this was a physical relationship, an intimate relationship, a friendship, a partnership, a job relationship, a family connection, there's something about this specific relationship that was the key, because this is the Queen of Keys and the King of Keys. It was the key to moving you forward into your power, because you were stuck in this loop back here. Okay? But it was so that you could see what was meant to be learned with and that's the seeds that were planted. You have to be patient with yourself during the process, the dark night of the soul, where you're going through the self-reflection and you're putting the puzzle pieces together. All right? So that you can break down those old timelines and move forward into these more abundant timelines. That's that dawn. You see there's like the dawn coming up in the and they always say it's always darkest before the dawn. So this is like that dark right here before the dawn, right here. But this is setting your course, you see? This is all happening for you, not to you. You just have to make the choices to let go of those old timelines and move forward into those higher timelines. That's what brings the spring. That's what brings the new birth. And Queen of Squirrels in reverse, this is a part of you coming from the inside. This is an inner feminine energy coming from the inside that's helping teach you, nurture you, provide that stable kind of foundation that makes you feel safe and confident. We also have Archangel Michael here with the divine physician in reverse. So there may be some healing abilities that start coming online in the future that you may be afraid because of maybe some childhood trauma, childhood wounds. And so there may be a need to work with Archangel Michael to feel protected, tapping into those abilities and using them for your own healing and then even healing around you. But there is going to be some shadow work surrounded with that. And so you're going to have guidance coming from inside with this very beautiful, nurturing, feminine guidance that you're going to feel inside of you coming up. And then you're also going to feel the presence, if you ask for it, of Archangel Michael to come and assist with feeling more protected and also wrapping around that inner child part of you, allowing that part of your inner child to feel protected. You may even start having some of that reflection going back to childhood, where maybe you were using your abilities, whether this was healing abilities or channeling abilities, and they were suppressed or repressed, or you were made to feel like you were doing something wrong, and so that part of you was damaged. And so there's a need to start healing that part of yourself. And so Archangel Michael is here to help, as well as there's that nurturing divine feminine mother energy coming from within inside of you that's also there to help. Okay, and then we have change here with the 2. So changes in relationship. We have truce. So maybe a relationship experience. There's something's coming into harmony, balance. There's justice coming in. Something that you've been thinking about that's really been on the mind or weighing heavily on the mind. This is also coming through the self-reflection phase. It's that self-reflection that's essentially allowing the universe to provide the changes needed for you to feel a sense of justice or feel a sense of balance or harmony in whatever discord or disharmony was happening in the past. Okay? Queen of Discs. Okay, so you've got that coming out twice. You've got Queen of Scrolls, Queen of Discs. It's the same thing as Queen of Earth. It's that beautiful, balanced energy, and that's what that change is bringing. Something very balanced, something very nurturing, something very stable. And this could even be in the form of another person or just you finding that in yourself. But this is after a long journey, you see, where there was a lot of dormancy. You see, it's like a desert, but there was a long journey ahead. But then you see sitting on the throne, and then you have the goat here. The goats are able to climb the highest mountains in the harshest conditions. That's you climbing the highest mountains in the harshest conditions. But that's ultimately helping you sit on that throne and stand in your power. Okay? So we're going to go a little bit deeper. When I like to get information about the higher self, I like to use this deck. This is my Shaman's Oracle. This is also how I connect with the ancestors, but it tends to be very vocal when it comes to higher self. So we're going to look at connecting to higher self, good ways for you to connect to higher self. And I'm being directed at the candle again, the white candle, and also the automatic writing. So maybe try doing that to help connect with higher self. And like I said, it's going to feel awkward and messy at first, but unless you sit down and take time, even if it's just a few minutes every day to practice it, you're never going to be able to tap into that part of yourself fully, because there may be some childhood damage where you may have suppressed that part of yourself. There may be even some past life damage where you may have suppressed that part of yourself because of things that had happened while you were channeling, or, what is called, I think, the witch wound. So, being terminated because of your abilities, basically. So sometimes we carry that pain over into this life and we are afraid to use them. So you may have to spend some time just pretending like you're really good at it. And I know that sounds weird. And allowing yourself to feel that so that you can open up to that part of yourself again. And fire keeps coming up. And the owl, I was trying to type it in the chat because when we were having technical difficulties, there was an owl hooting out my window. And my computer was kind of acting funny at that point too. And so I guess that should have been a sign. So you've got 39, which is also 12 with fire, 10. So it's helping you get out of something karmic, purification. Fire is really important. So higher self is saying, connect to me through fire. And this is where you'll also be getting signs and synchronicities through the owl. So pay attention to owl signs, hearing owls, seeing owls, and then fire. Fire is going to be a really important, I have chills right now. Fire is going to be a really important part of you tapping into your abilities. I don't know if you have fire in your chart, but that's also what's going to help you have that victory. That the gains are through fire. So passion, movement forward, doing things that you love. Oh, I have so many chills right now. It's like almost making me nauseous. Like, this is what's really going to help you step into your confidence, your self-esteem. But you have to be willing to let go of the things that you don't love and that are holding you back and keeping you repressed and suppressed. For the sake of other people, start doing things for yourself. It's not selfish if it gets you out of old situations that weren't healthy for you, okay? And that's one of the things is we tend to stay in situations for the sake of other people that are unhealthy for us because we're thinking that we're also keeping them healthy by making ourselves unhealthy. But it's like when the plane is going down and you got to put the oxygen mask on first before you put it on the person next to you, it's the same thing. You can't keep another person happy at the sake of your own happiness, or you're both going to go down eventually. Neither one of you are going to make it out. So you have to start working on what makes you happy, what fires you up, what fuels your passion and your drive and your desire. And if what you're currently experiencing does not do that, it's time to start letting those things go and love yourself enough and trust that the universe has your back, that it will shift you exactly in the direction that you're supposed to go. Okay? But this is going to take work. It's going to take self-reflection. It's going to take learning, book work, And it's going to take actually moving forward with things, one foot in front of the other, not being afraid of your abilities, not being afraid of that journey, knowing that winter does eventually have to end and it does become spring eventually. Okay? So you also have, initiations coming from a higher council that you've been receiving in your unconscious, messages, even in dream state, or kind of in the back of your mind, but this is initiating you into a higher calling. And this is coming from a higher council. This could be a galactic council, cosmic, spiritual council, whatever this is coming from some higher group of consciousness that's initiating you into this higher calling. So pay attention to your dreams and the signs and the synchronicities. Owls is really important. Fire. Get yourself some candles if you don't already. And of course, practice fire safety, please. Okay. So we did have some angels come up in your reading, so we're going to pull from my angel deck. That was quick. Queen of Earth keeps coming up for you. There's a three decks now. 3 decks. I've gotten the same card in 3 different decks for you. Make time for those around you. Make sure you're taking a sensible approach to situations, and you're dealing with challenges that come into your reality in a very kind, understanding manner. This is that internal feminine guidance that's showing you how to do this. Okay? This is helping you tap into this warm, sensitive, thoughtful, loving, creative part of yourself that you may have even suppressed because maybe that part of you wasn't welcomed, or it was looked at in the wrong way, and so you maybe felt bad about it. I know that it's really hard for males to be nurturers, especially as young children. They are disciplined for it or demeaned for it, and it can create trauma. So if this is something that happened to you, there's a part of you inside that's a beautiful nurturer, caring, loving, thoughtful, sweet person that just wants to love everybody. And so there may be part of you that's damaged because you had such a big, beautiful heart, and you still have that big, beautiful heart. But there's some healing that has to happen. So pay attention to that warmth, that nudgy feeling inside, that desire to care and nurture for people. But you also have to pay attention to, am I doing this because of a repressed trauma? Am I just caring and loving everybody at an expense to myself? You have to find balance. Express that love in that caring manner in a way that does not harm you, does not take away from you or put you in situations that are hurtful. Okay? So this is where you're going to find that balance, that abundance. She's got that pot of gold, and it's coming from the heart. See all that green energy? And this is over the divine position. This is part of your healing ability, being able to transform and alchemize these energies. 8 of fire. Okay? Events moving at a very fast pace. Once you go through this period of self-reflection, you align with this, your destiny, your course, then things start moving rapid fire. Whatever delays were keeping you in that winter phase are over, and many things are going to start opening up. Doors that you didn't even know were possible are going to start opening for you. Okay? And here we go, 4 fire. Contentment, peace, abundance, happy home life, the successful completion of a project. This could be work. This could be a relationship that you were working on. This could be moving forward with something, a new business that you were trying to start. Something is going to open up for you, but this is after that period of dormancy where you have to really go within, self-reflect, heal the parts of yourself that were damaged, bring those parts of yourself out, and you're going to be guided along the way. So the more and more you start tapping into your abilities, and I keep do the candle and the automatic writing, that's going to be really important. All right, and you may even be called to do some charity work at some point that's going to help further you into your alignment of your highest good and opening you up to abundance. Sometimes if we have lack consciousness or blocks connected to our abundance, we'll be aligned with situations where we have to give unconditionally. So this is charity work, and because of that, the universe gives back to us, because what we put out, we get back. So it helps us clear those blocks. So if you're called to do any kind of charity work or working with somebody less fortunate or that needs help and can't afford it, like these are situations that I've had to do, which is even hard for me because I get overwhelmed so easily. But I've put myself in those situations when I needed extra abundance because I was struggling, because it always comes through in the end, like more often than not. Like I can't even think of a time when it has, like sometimes the it is a little delayed and you're like, well, you know, is it ever going to come through? And then it comes through in a really big way. So sometimes if it feels a little delayed, it's because the universe is, you know, preparing something really big for you. So I've noticed sometimes when I get things really fast, they're not quite as exuberant, they're not quite as big, which is fine. Sometimes I just need something really fast. And this is kind of how I'm feeling like the universe also works a little bit. When there is these delays, it's because the universe needs that opportunity for the energy to build up like a pressure cooker. Like if you turn your cooker on for 5 minutes, you're going to get some pressure, you're going to get some steam from that. If you leave it on for 40 minutes, you're going to get a cooked meal, you know, or depending on however long it takes for your pressure to cook. But what I'm saying is sometimes the universe needs that pressure cooker time to give you something bigger and better. And that's about that divine timing and that patience. Yeah, time is not linear. Time is just an illusion. But you also have to think about how energy works. If you want something big, something exciting, you have to give the universe time to build up the pressure of that energy to burst it through. Okay? Ooh, the Empress. Archangel Gabriel. Lavish abundance. Give birth to your dreams. Nurture yourself and others. Like nurturing keeps coming up over and over and over. All right? So whatever didn't happen that you would hope was supposed to happen in the past, that was something that was catalyzing an awareness, an awakening, an expression of yourself or an identity that you had created or that you were suppressing for the sake of other people. You may not even be fully aware of what this is yet. It may come into your awareness in the future, if it's not pinging any bells right now. So since we're kind of talking about relationships, I'm going to pull from my Dark Mirror Oracle deck. I'm going to pull a card for you, your shadows, like how you are, and then how you are in relationships. And so this could be generalized relationships, intimate friendships, as well as work relationships, family relationships. So there's a lot of pain, heartbreak, feeling taken advantage of, like things weren't fair. There's a lot that happened to you that just felt like it wasn't right, like it wasn't fair. Like, why? Because we have revenge here with the swords, and she's so guarded. And her leaves, you know, are growing, but they're so sparse because there's just so much weight on the shoulders from that pain, from that injustice. And in relationships, we have artificial heart. There's this fear of feeling or getting too close or getting too connected to somebody because of pain from the past. So it's like, I wish I could just have a relationship with somebody without actually having to feel anything for them, because it's when I start having the feelings, that's where the pain comes. And then I get hurt, and then I have to feel about like, how am I going to get justice for this pain? And there's this desire for revenge. And me, I'm not a revengeful person. I am not. But when I got my heart broken, all I wanted to do was take it out on everybody who was involved, you know? And it was something that I had to come to terms with, was because I needed to love myself and honor my worth and stop validating it through these other people and how they saw me or how they felt about me and my connection to the relationship, okay? So you're having to look at that in yourself. Like, am I avoiding having relationships that include feelings because I've been hurt in the past? Do I often find myself shutting down my feelings in relationships out of fear of those feelings being hurt, okay? Because there is some pain from the past that you're still holding on to. Whether you see yourself as somebody who wants revenge or as a vengeful person or even as an envious person, you may not even be fully aware of it, but there's a part of you that's still holding on to that may be keeping you from being able to have feelings for people. Okay? And I'm not calling you out. This is my Dark Mirror Shadow deck. Every card in this deck is a call-out card. So just a heads up. Okay, so for higher self connection, candle, pay attention to owls, owl signs. Fire is really important. Working with fire and automatic writing. Also, 11s. 11s is kind of showing you where that initiation is happening into your higher calling. Pay attention to your dreams. Maybe do dream journaling. Okay? So, Camelot. What's going on with Camelot? Something having to do with a family, something that was out of balance or uprooted is what I'm hearing. Okay. Emotional withdrawal. Something happened that caused you to either feel excommunicated or you got excommunicated or you had to withdraw. You withdrew emotionally. Something happened. There was a trauma that wasn't dealt with. You were really hopeful for something that didn't happen. This was something you felt was your destiny. This could have been a relationship with another person in that lifetime that didn't work out or they were taken from you too soon. Woo. Universe. This was supposed to happen in order for transformation to happen of the soul as well as the universe. This was destiny. This was absolutely aligned with what was meant for the universe to experience, but it did cause trauma. It did cause emotional withdrawal. The transformation is happening now through what you're seeing, what that was. You need to pay attention to your dreams. You need to pay attention to the signs and the synchronicities, because staying suffering in silence because of this experience from a past life is keeping you on that hamster wheel. If you want to move forward into that next timeline, you have to pay attention. You also have to be patient for yourself while you're growing. There's going to be many phases of this experience as it's evolving, as your consciousness is evolving from awareness to reprogramming, or it's like awareness, deprogramming, reprogramming, initiating of the new program, integrating of the program. It's all part of, the process. So be patient with yourself as you're going through the transformation. This is happening for you, not to you. I think I said that earlier. Because the universe doesn't want you to continue suffering in silence. It's unnecessary. You are already a master of yourself. You just have to remember your own mastery, okay? And be patient with yourself. Throat chakra, again. Like that keeps coming up. Okay, deception and envy. There's that mask. I think we talked about masks earlier. And the 7, don't give up. Seeds have been planted. Seeds of change. They're already happening, but you have to be willing to do the work in order for that change to happen. You have to be willing to take the mask off. The identity that was for other people, you have to be willing to let it go. It's the hardest thing for me to let go. After going from being, this person that was perceived as somewhat normal, I guess, to whatever degree you could see me as normal, to having to figure out how to still have a business and be valid and legitimate as an autistic person. This creates a lot of masks of identity for me. So I can relate with what it means to wear a mask. It is not because you're a bad person or because you're trying to deceive somebody or you're envious of somebody or you're jealous of them. This is because there's socially acceptable behavior in society through a neurotypical lens that a lot of times individuals who are either ADHD, ADD, have other kind of mood disorders or just neurodivergence, whatever, on the other side of the spectrum from a very, very, what you would consider blue-collar normal person. We have to create this identity for the sake of their comfort. But what we don't realize is that leaves us suffering in silence, okay? And I'm not saying that you are neurodivergent or any of those things, but just the way that you were like, oh, I'm sorry about my chaotic energy. I just kind of picked up on that because that's like the type of stuff that I would do. So I'm not making any assumptions here. It was just something that I noted through the earlier interactions. So definitely feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, but there is a sense of suffering in silence. So there is a part of you that you are repressing for the sake of other people. Okay, there is an identity, a mask that needs to be taken off. And you need to stop trying to become other people, socially acceptable people. You need to start accepting yourself for who you are and finding the people who are going to accept that part of you. There's no need to be all these other people. We don't want to be like them. We want to be who we are. This is what you have to start telling yourself. I don't want to be like them. I want to be who I am. And you may even be already stepping into this, but there's still parts, like there's still layers that have to be shed. So pay attention to yourself as you're going through this transformation. What are you still holding on to that's heavy? What are you still holding on to that's keeping you stuck in the past or keeping you repeating, looping thoughts, patterns, or relationships? New beginnings, okay? New beginnings. So one of the things that is causing the dizziness is something connected to the base chakra. So there's damage in the base chakra connected to fear, trauma, something from, the home and the family, which was what I picked up before. So you could have lost somebody that you were very connected to within the home or family. So this could have been a spouse or even a child or a parental figure. But this created an instability in the base chakra, the root chakra. And this could also be affecting your ability to feel safe or feel grounded or feel stable in a home situation. This is also where some of that nurturing damage could have come from. So this could have been a mother or a feminine or nurturing character within that lifetime that there was trauma involved with. Okay, so there's a need to do some work with the base chakra and the throat chakra. That will help some of that reoccurring dizziness. This will also help you start tapping into what really happened in Camelot. Like, what connections are involved. You may start having dreams about it, okay? So pay attention to your dreams. Pay attention to things that you think about when you're daydreaming. Keep a little notebook or a journal nearby. Pay attention to repeating numbers. 999 was something that came up at the beginning of the reading. So nines could be important. Nines could be helping get you out of that suffering, all right? The universe is trying to speak to you in many ways, so you have to pay attention to that. All right, is there anything else? All right, so I'll pull from one more deck and then I'm going to call this reading. Insecurity. Here's that root chakra. Again, guarding your heart, okay? So this Camelot thing could have been connected to a relationship, okay? This could have been somebody you had a family with or that felt like home. And there was pain there, so there's a guarding of the heart. This is creating an imbalance in your ability to feel stable. That's where that dizziness or vertigo, and you can even be dealing with that now, dizziness and vertigo. And so working with the heart, working with the root chakra, working with the throat chakra, these are going to be really important. Paying attention to repeating patterns in relationships and what they're trying to show you. Where are you still holding on to this need for justice or this need for, what is the word I'm looking for? Conclusion? I know that's not the word I'm looking for, but it's like closure. Closure. So maybe there was a lack of closure. And so there's this fear of opening that heart back up because it's like, I don't want to end up in yet another situation where I'm going to get hurt and there's going to be a lack of closure. And I'm not going to get any justice for it. I'm going to feel like the only one, holding themselves accountable or responsible for their part in the situation. So it feels unbalanced. It feels off. And it makes you feel dizzy because it is unbalanced and it is off. And it's keeping you from being able to feel stable. Okay? Spend time with Mother Earth is going to be really important. Listen to her talk to you through your thoughts. Sit under a tree, put your hands on the ground, put your feet on the ground. Listen to the nurturing, loving words that come into your mind. And if you have any intrusive thoughts, ask her to take them away. Imagine them moving down your spine, moving down, down, down into the earth and into the root system. And as they go into the root system, imagine them becoming like water. I like to imagine it almost like a liquid fertilizer going into the ground, nurturing and nourishing the ground. So the dirt almost acts like a filter and a transmutation device that transforms the energy as it leaves your body into this beautiful liquid fertilizer. So as you're releasing that energy from your body, you're also offering this beautiful gift to the tree and to Mother Earth. So allow yourself to spend some time with your feet on the earth, with your hands on the earth, just connecting with that energy and allowing it to take away any intrusive thoughts, any unbalanced energies or feeling of injustice or sadness or despair. And look, we're always going to deal with these energies. It's part of reality, and it's part of also, staying stuck in trauma loops. Is our body becomes chemically addicted to the feelings that come up when we revisit those things to try to quote unquote process them. But if we're not actually fully processing through something, we're just continuously relooping it, we're actually re-traumatizing ourselves over and over and over, and you're not getting anywhere, you're just suffering in silence. So sometimes just letting the tree have it, even if it just takes it away for that period of time, instead of sitting there dwelling on it, like, I have to process through this, I have to feel it. You felt it. Now let the tree have it. Turn it into something beautiful. Okay? All right, I hope this helps. I hope I answered all your questions. And let me know if you need me to get a little bit more defined with anything. I will do my best.